If you're watching this, you're probably wondering, how do you play Tsareena, the newest addition to Pokemon Unite? The Pokemon is very powerful when properly utilized, but to master the pick, you need to understand the detailed nuance of how its pick works. In fact, there's a lot of different mechanics that the game doesn't explicitly state out in the move descriptions. But don't worry, I'll be divulging little tips and tricks throughout this video. For those of you who haven't played the Pokemon yet, it's kind of like a mix of Lucario and Greninja. But what does that exactly mean? Well, Lucario has some insane reset potential alongside CC chains, while Greninja sustains health with each successive hit. Tsareena is the same way. If the Pokemon times its abilities properly, weaving in basic attacks to reset its cooldowns alongside provide sustain off of its moves, the Pokemon becomes quite unkillable. But the prerequisite is that the Pokemon needs to reach its final form. There's going to be a lot of different topics covered in this guide, so make sure to utilize the timestamps to navigate to the specific section that you're interested in. And if you enjoyed the content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now without much further ado, let's dive right into it. At the very beginning of the game, from levels 1 and 3, Tsareena's first evolution, Bone Sweet, has access to Razor Leaf and Rapid Spin. Razor Leaf is a projectile skill shot while having a decent critical hit rate. Rapid Spin shoots Bone Sweet forward, dealing damage and increasing its movement speed. As a whole, these moves aren't too important to note since its early game is really weak. The biggest thing to keep in mind is just know how far Razor Leaf shoots out and how far Rapid Spin shoots Bone Sweet forward. Both don't deal much damage at all, and Bone Sweet is pretty squishy as a whole. But what about once Tsareena learns its other moves? Upon reaching level 5, Steenie, Tsareena's pre-evolution, can upgrade Razor Leaf into either Triple Axel or Stomp. Frankly speaking, Triple Axel is a better move, at least in my opinion. In fact, it's straight up broken. The alternative, Stomp, isn't necessarily bad. In fact, it's actually quite good, dealing damage and stunning targets around Tsareena with a single hit. It might even be the easier move for less experienced players to use, requiring less skill to navigate properly. But when comparing Triple Axel and Stomp, Triple Axel is just simply too broken to ignore. For those who don't know, this is the move where Tsareena spins 3 times in a row, dealing damage around its surroundings. Since the move hits 3 times, it also applies unhit effects 3 times. This is important to note for later. In addition, for a short period of time afterwards, Triple Axel increases Tsareena's basic attack speed. On its own, the move is pretty balanced, so what makes the move overpowered? The key to maximizing Triple Axel is by exploiting Tsareena's passive, Queenly Majesty. This is a passive unique to Tsareena, which is an upgraded version of its original passive upon evolution. When Tsareena procs Queenly Majesty, the Pokemon completely refreshes its cooldown for any of its 2 moves, but only 1 move can be used during this time. This is a huge and very abusable strength. Since Queenly Majesty procs after a certain amount of basic attacks and move usages, players will want to keep spamming attacks to utilize Tsareena's passive. Thankfully, Triple Axel increases the basic attack speed upon usage, meaning spamming Triple Axel allows Tsareena to spam even more Triple Axels, essentially resulting in transforming Tsareena into a very powerful Beyblade. Keep in mind, after Queenly Majesty procs and Tsareena uses a single move, the other move also goes back onto its normal cooldown. This then brings the question of which move should players spam during certain situations. During most mid-combat situations, Tsareena will likely want to spam Triple Axel. This is because the move provides the most damage and healing when empowered by Queenly Majesty. The move on its own without the empowerment of Queenly Majesty doesn't actually heal, but when buffed, the healing on the skill is actually insane. Since Triple Axel hits 3 times and actually damages all enemies around the Pokemon, Tsareena can heal absurd amounts of damage when fighting against multiple targets. After all, the healing scales on the total damage dealt by Triple Axel, and if Tsareena hits 3 targets 3 times each, that's a lot of healing. This makes Triple Axel the go-to move to spam. But when should Tsareena use its other move? If Triple Axel is a go-to move to spam when acquiring the reset of Queenly Majesty, what use does Tsareena's second move even have? Upon reaching level 6, Tsareena's Rapid Spin can be switched out for either Trop Kick or Glassy Glide. And to be quite frank, both moves are fantastic and viable. Let's start off with Trop Kick. This move launches Tsareena forward, leaving behind a trail that hinders the enemy. Successful hit results in decreased attack for the enemy, while the trail slows down the movement speed. Glassy Glide also lunges Tsareena forward, while once again slowing the enemy upon hit. The biggest difference would have to be that Glassy Glide follows up with an attack in the opposite direction, which shoves the enemy while dealing damage. Okay, so both moves are pretty much a dash. In other words, they help Tsareena with mobility. So which move should you choose, and why? Personally speaking, I love Glassy Glide. The extra shove is area effect, and utilizing the CC allows Tsareena to better position its triple Axel more effectively. But the downside is that Tsareena will always throw out the extra hit in the opposite direction, regardless of whether there is an enemy there or not. This means that the total amount of distance covered by Glassy Glide is, overall, less than that of Trop Kick. Trop Kick is better for players that love to chase the enemy around and roam the map. The move performs better as a mobility option since it doesn't keep Tsareena in an animation. It also just simply covers more distance. In other words, both moves are great, and it depends more on an individual playstyle when determining which one to opt for. As a general rule of thumb, Trop Kick might be better when playing alongside teammates that already have a lot of lockdown, since all Tsareena would have to worry about is closing the gap rather than keeping the enemy still. Glassy Glide is the better option for solo carry mentality, and also better at optimizing damage during teamfights. The trade-off is the loss of mobility, which admittedly is a very important trait in Pokemon Unite. Tsareena's Unite move, Queen Ascent, is like a point-and-click Yasuo ult, but only on a single target. Okay, for you non-league players out there, it essentially targets an individual Pokemon and knocks them into the air. Keyword, individual enemy. Since it only hits a single target, understanding when and how to use the move is really important. Since the ability locks the enemy down for a while, use the move on targets that are prone to run away or keep their distance very often. So probably someone like Zeraora, Cinderace, or even Talonflame. The biggest asset that the move provides is actually the momentary invulnerability. Very often in Pokemon Unite, moves are thrown out everywhere during a team fight, and the fight itself becomes super clustered with dangerous abilities. You want to time the move to avoid the bulk of the enemy's moves, while simultaneously utilizing Queen Ascent to gain the extra healing to survive. It can also be used as a nice buffer between Triple Axel when it's on cooldown. Muscle Band, Focus Band, and Razor Claw are hands down the best items on Tsareena. At least if you're planning on building the Pokemon as a damage carry that sustains throughout teamfights. But why these items? Muscle Band provides extra attack speed, which is obviously a necessity for Tsareena to utilize her passive. In addition, the health item actually deals more damage scaling with the enemy's maximum health, thereby synergizing with Tsareena's third basic attack, which decreases the enemy's defense. This makes Tsareena a tank shredding machine. Focus Band essentially keeps Tsareena alive when going in 1v5. The extra defensive stats alongside healing proccing upon reaching low HP combos with Tsareena's own innate healing, making the Pokemon unkillable. Razor Claw grants critical strike, which further increases basic attack damage Tsareena deals. But why Razor Claw instead of Scope Lens? Typically, basic attackers use Scope Lens since the base critical strike on the item is quite frankly better. But the thing is, Tsareena is always spamming moves, and Razor Claw grants an extra buff in the next attack after a move, which Tsareena can easily take advantage of. Of course, this item does have a short cooldown, but the item still provides far more damage than Scope Lens could possibly grant, at least on Tsareena. Here are some alternative held items on the screen. I'm not going to go into each nitty-gritty detail regarding them. Players familiar with the held item stats and advantages should know when and how to use them. Okay, here's where I'm going to say something that might be really unexpected. Full Heal is the best battle item on Tsareena. Lockdown is Tsareena's worst nightmare since if Tsareena can't move, the Pokemon can't attack. And if it can't attack, then it can't sustain. If it can't sustain, it just dies. Full Heal allows Tsareena to move around unhindered for a moment, breaking out of some of the most broken moves in the game to wreak havoc on its enemies. Personally, I think Full Heal is better than even Eject Button on Tsareena. The Pokemon already has so much mobility built into its kit through its resets. If I had to stick up for Eject Button, I'd say it's only better than Full Heal during the beginning stages of the game. This is because it helps with mobile insurance, allowing Bone Sweet and Steenie to escape sticky situations and scale more effectively into the game. But once it becomes Tsareena, Full Heal is definitely better than Eject Button. Alternative battle items also include X speed and X attack, but personally speaking I would just go full heal every game. There's a lot of baloney lockdown in the game, and having a held item to counter all of that is incredibly beneficial. And with that, that covers the aspect of Tsareena before heading into the game. Now let's talk about how to actually play the Pokemon. Let's start with the early stages, also known as the laning phase. Tsareena can essentially go in any lane, but definitely prefers top or bottom. The new jungle changes make it difficult for Tsareena to farm up during the early game, since the wild Pokemon that provide buffs now have a different set of attacks that are incredibly difficult for Bounsweet and Steenie to deal with. The biggest benefit is, Tsareena can reach level 6 with little to no trouble when going mid/jungle, therefore can snowball the game much early on. The issue is there are other junglers that have far faster clears than Tsareena, so you're probably best just playing Tsareena in lane. Players are given the option of choosing between Rapid Spin and Razor Leaf. Almost always take Rapid Spin over Razor Leaf in the beginning. Razor Leaf deals more damage, but Rapid Spin provides far more mobility. And since the beginning, wild Pokemon are really easy to burst down, especially with the help of a teammate. Prioritizing mobility is essential to position in order to contest the other neutral Pokemon when reaching the lane. I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Tsareena is very weak before reaching its apex form. It's super weak, it's trash before then. In other words, be wary when playing Bounsweet and Steenie. The only reason Tsareena isn't killable is thanks to Queenly Majesty, which it acquires upon evolving into Tsareena. Prior to reaching its final form, Bounsweet and Steenie cannot sustain well at all. And also they don't deal much damage without the access to its cooldown resets. The best way to play Tsareena before reaching its final form is just to play it safe. Unless you're absolutely confident that you can win the matchup, just focus on evolving. Now upon evolving into Tsareena, there's a couple different things to look out for. The biggest thing is to keep an eye on the gauge above the Pokemon's head. This indicates when Queenly Majesty is ready. Another is to try to hit as many targets as possible whenever possible. As a damage carry, it's really scary going into multiple enemies at once. But by understanding exactly how much you can sustain, and which Pokemon pose little threat to you is essential to maximizing your pick. But how do you know which Pokemon are a threat? Well, honestly, that'll just take time and practice. Is Tsareena worth purchasing? Is she worth playing? Well, I mean the Pokemon is free and overpowered, so yeah! I hope that answers that question. Definitely expect Tsareena to be nerfed in the very near future. There's no way that Pokemon Unite developers leave such a broken Pokemon so powerful for too long. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon Unite content. I've been your host, Terry, and until next time, stay safe and have fun in your games.